Hello, I'm JP from Singapore, and welcome back to Decumulation Diaries. This is my regular check-in on how the JP portfolio has been performing since I retired early and began my FIRE journey in March this year. If you haven't seen the previous update, where I shared my reflections after 6 months into early retirement, do check that out next. Now, let's dive right in and see how October has been. When I ended my corporate career in March this year, I started with a base portfolio of about $2.9 million in financial assets, excluding my home, investment property, and alternative investments. Now, 7 months into my FIRE journey, I'm happy to share that the JP portfolio has grown by 14% since March, and by around 2% month-on-month in October. These gains are after accounting for my living expenses, which means the portfolio is doing exactly what it's designed to do, support my lifestyle while continuing to compound for the long term. Let us now take a closer look at how the individual asset types have performed in October. Starting with my long-term assets, the largest of which is CPF. This includes all balances across my OA, SA, and MA, as well as investments under the CPFIS account. In October, my CPF pot grew 1.5% month-on-month, driven mainly by valuation gains in Singapore stocks and index funds, even after accounting for my monthly mortgage servicing. Note that the annual CPF interest has not yet been credited, so this growth reflects investment performance alone. If you are new here, please check out my other video where I shared on how I grew my CPF to $1 million by age 47. The next long-term asset is my SRS investments. My SRS funds are fully deployed into diversified equity funds, and they are passively managed. In October, the SRS portfolio grew strongly by 4.1%, mainly driven by valuation gains. If you'd like to know more, do check out my other video where I shared the full breakdown of my SRS investments. The last category in my long-term asset is my insurance portfolio, consisting of the cash value of my life and endowment plans. This pot grew 0.5% in October. Next, we move on to my liquid assets, which I'm using to fund my FIRE lifestyle today. The first category are my investments in diversified equity and bond funds. This pot grew 1.7% in October from valuation gains. Now, let's talk about my biggest liquid asset, my stock investments. They are the primary growth engine of the JP portfolio and key to its long-term sustainability. In October, the stock portfolio grew 4.3%, bringing its time-weighted return to 23% year-to-date, outperforming both the STI and S&P 500, which are up 17% and 16% respectively over the same period. Month-on-month, it increased by 2.8%, and on a one-year basis, is up an impressive 34%, reflecting the portfolio's resilience and solid performance despite market volatility. Finally, let's talk about my cash holdings. This includes my liquidity bucket to fund expenses and a war chest set aside for market opportunities. Sitting on my small severance package back in March, the April correction gave me a great chance to scoop up quality stocks at attractive valuations. Since then, I've continued to rebalance and optimize my holdings over the past few months. In October, my cash balance fell by 17%, mainly from funding living expenses and deploying additional capital into US stocks. Still, I maintain enough cash to comfortably cover 1 year of expenses, giving me both flexibility and peace of mind. In summary, within the JP portfolio, my stock investments and cash holdings are where I apply active management, while the rest of the portfolio runs on autopilot. Now, how has October been for investors in general? This is just my personal sharing and reflection, and it is not financial advice. Looking at the biggest market, which is the US, The S&P 500 recorded its 6th consecutive positive month in October, with technology leading the charge thanks to strong results and earnings from Amazon and Google. Year to date, technology sector remains the best performing sector, followed by the communication services sector, which includes stocks like Meta and Google. This is then followed by the utilities and industrials sector in 3rd and 4th place. The US Federal Reserve also continued its rate cut cycle, announcing its second 25 basis point cut in late October. Next, we talk about the portfolio actions I took in October. On the Singapore side, over the past few months, I've allocated more into local dividend stocks, including banks and REITs, to support ongoing fire expenses. Some of these names released good results in October, lifting share prices. However, I also exited one counter at a loss, where I have less conviction about its growth story. On the US investments, earnings season has just started and will continue into November. I'll be reviewing company results to decide whether any portfolio adjustments are needed, including trimming or switching. 3 new stocks were added this month. Moving forward, I expect the markets to remain choppy. However, I'm staying long-term bullish and continue to stay invested, rather than trying to time short-term movements. I'll be looking to raise cash levels gradually if opportunities arise, mainly to rebuild a war chest for future rebalancing. The focus remains on maintaining balance, managing sequence of returns risk, and letting the portfolio work for me while I enjoy this new phase of life. So that's all from me for the month of October. I'll keep these monthly updates short and focused, just covering net worth changes, asset type performance, and key monthly highlights. The more detailed breakdown, including my stock portfolio by sector and geography, as well as expenses and waterfall chart updates, will come in the Milestone Diaries, either quarterly or at year-end. This wraps up the October update. If this video has benefited you, I will greatly appreciate if you can give it a like, as it helps more people discover my content and also let me know that it has been useful to you. I would also love to hear your thoughts. Do you find these quick monthly updates useful, or do you prefer the longer Milestone Diaries where I go deeper into details? Please share your views in the comments below. Your feedback will help me decide on how I will do future updates. And if you haven't yet, do subscribe to Ikigai Living SG so you wouldn't miss the next Decumulation Diary. Till then, have a great Ikigai day.